Hey everybody, welcome back. This is quiz 5.2, laugh it off 2. Okay, so we're laughing it off for a second time. So they want us to write a function called laugh. This one's going to take a parameter, and the parameter num represents the number of has to return. Here's an example of the output. Tip, you might need a loop to solve this. Okay. So what we want to take from this is that if we console.log laugh at 3, not laugh at 3, but laugh called on 3, and it prints ha 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 ha, then that means that this function is going to be returning something. So let's jump down here on line 11. We'll get started. We'll say function laugh. Laugh is going to take one parameter. We'll call it num. And I'm going to grab this, call this a test case, and this will ensure that we've written our code correctly after we write it. So previously we've just started coding, but this could be a good time for us to introduce the idea of pseudocode. And what we're going to do with pseudocode is sort of write out in comments what we want our function to do, after which we can write the code that'll execute that pseudocode. So if we're going to return a string, I'd like to create a result string. Then somehow, and this is where pseudocode gets a little bit tricky, but it can be very helpful to organize your thought process during the pseudocode phase as opposed to during the coding phase. Once you actually put code on the page, you tend to want to make that code work rather than think about what the code should actually be doing. So we'll just say repeat num times, and then to indent a couple spaces, well I guess they're doing an indentation here, looks like it's 4 spaces, so we'll keep that consistent. But if we indent 4 spaces, we can assume that the pseudocode on line 14 is going to be subordinate, or meaning like hierarchically subordinate to repeat num times. So repeat num times and then an indentation on line 14 implies that line 14 is what we are repeating. So we'll say set result string to result string plus ha. Theoretically, after we've done that num times, we'll have a string that looks something like this, or however many times we were supposed to have repeated it, at which point we should add an exclamation point, and then return the result string. So if we think about that, create a result string, and then num times set the result string to the result string plus ha, and then add an exclamation point, then return the result string. That feels like it's going to work out. So let's go ahead and code this. We'll say result is equal to an empty string. Repeat n times, or num times. A couple ways to do this. I'm going to go with a for loop. We'll say for variable I is equal to 0, I is going to be less than num, so that will be a num times loop. I plus plus. And you don't have to wrap your pseudocode like this, but I'm going to just for demonstrable purposes. For the purposes of demonstration, set result string to result string plus ha. Result plus equals, which as we've gone over in previous videos is the same as result is equal to result plus. So result plus equals ha. Next thing we're going to say is result plus equals an exclamation point. And then we'll return the result string. As a reminder, we have our test case here on line 26, so if we do our test run, we can ensure that we've done everything with the loop correctly. Looks like it's working. I'm going to go one more, I'll run it with 5, just to make sure that there's not some kind of snafu. Ha 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 ha. Well, either way, let's go ahead and submit the answer. Okay, good work. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.